The phonological segments, on this case the phonemes and phones, are composed of different features, like voiced, nasal, labial, and consonant, and that features are indicated by the presence of more or less signs represented in the writing. For example, when in certain words we see the use of accent on lines, diphthongs, etc. The set of features is universal. It means that it is the same all around the world. But the different languages can differ about which are distinctive. It means that are used on that language and which are non-distinctive, which means that are not used on the language. For example, we have the use of the virgulilla on the Spanish language, which is something that is not used in another languages, like the English language.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alexandra Salazar. I'm going to talk to you about phonetic futures. Continuing with the phonetic futures, we can say that they are the specific characteristics of space sounds that linguists use to describe and analyze the sounds of human language. These characteristics help differentiate one sound from another and are crucial to understanding to the phonological system of language. As I continue, some common phonetic futurists include a place of articulation, refers to the place in the vocal tract where the flow of air is obstructed to produce a particular sound. For example, sounds can be produced of the lips. Articulation describes how airflow is obstructed or modified. Voicing distinguishes sounds based on the whether the vocal folds vibrate during their production. Nasality, some sounds are produced when airflow passes through the nasal cavity. Tongue position refers to the position of the tongue in the mouth when producing a sound. Reading describes whether the lips are redundant or extended when producing a sound. Distinctive features in English. Among the distinctive characteristics in English, we have voices continuous in many others are distinctive features of English. They can contrast phonemes. Aspirations are not distinctive to English and are predictable from phonemic context. The nasal may be distinctive of one class of sounds, for example, English consonant, but not distinctive of a different class of sound, for example, English vowels.
My name is Jonathan Espinosa, and I am going to talk about the characteristics and functions of nasal sounds. The first talk about the distinction of articulation points. In English, nasal consonants are distinguished by their point of articulation. The M is bilabial, produced by closing the lips. N is alveolar, produced by the tip of the tongue against the alveolus. And Ng is velar, produced by the back of the tongue against the soft palate. Now, the second is nasal assimilation. In English, nasal consonants can assimilate their point of articulation to that of the following consonant. Now, the last is influence of pronunciation. The correct production of nasal sounds is essential for intelligibility in English. The omission or incorrect substitution of these consonants can affect the speech understanding, as nasal sounds are distinctive and can change the meaning of words. Now, and other elements that must be taken into account in the phonetics of English are the aspiration. Aspiration is a phonetic phenomenon in which a puff of air is produced during the articulation of certain consonants, especially at the beginning of a word or syllable. This burst of air may be distinctive in some languages and non-distinctive in others. Now, distinctive and non-distinctive phonetic features. In English, some phonetic features are distinctive and some are non-distinctive. Distinctive phonetic features are those that can change the meaning of a word if they are modified. On the other hand, there are phonetic features in English that are non-distinctive. meaning that their presence or absence does not change the meaning of a word. For example, the aspiration of plosive consonants at the beginning of a word, as in pen or span, is not distinctive in English, although the initial P in pen and span are aspirate differently. This difference does not affect the meaning of the words.
In phonetical rules, we have the assimilation. Assimilation refers to the process by which adjacent sounds become more similar to each other, due to their mutual influence one another. According to Driven, in other words, assimilation is a process wherever one sound causes an adjacent sound to be more similar to itself. Other characteristics of assimilation are sounds become more like neighboring sounds, and assimilation can be conditioned by preceding or following sounds. As you can see in this example, we have the word handbag. In the transcription, handbag, the accent of the consonants in this case is more potent in the letter D and letter B. However, after assimilation, we can see the transcription is in the letter D and B. The sound change and combine it and be sounds in letter M. In this case, sounds like humpback. After this explication, we have types of assimilation. In this case, we have three: the phonetic, morphologic, and phonemic. According to phonetic, we have the free variation and contextual. In morphologic, morphonemic and historical, and phonemic neutralization and syncretisms. So, in phonetic, free variation and contextual assimilation, the change affects a certain segment by selecting a certain variant of that segment. For example, the letter M in the word triumph and nymph is rendered in letter M. In the other hand, we have the phonemic assimilation. It is often to refer to as neutralization. This is more systematized, not subject to free variation. For example, the sounds on end are neutralized in the word think. Continue with these examples, we have the type of morphological or morphonemic assimilation. In this case, is one which affects a whole morpheme. It usually decides the morpheme variant, almorph, according to morphonemic rule. For example, the distribution of x in the suffix, in this case of the plural of third person in singular. The letter CS affects voiceless consonants, in this case stops, roots, and phillips. Continue with phonological rules. The other rule here is dissimilation. Dissimilation is when a sound changes one of its features to become less similar to an adjacent sound, usually to make the two sounds more distinguishable. This type of rule is often seen among people speaking a language that is not their native language, where the sound contrast may be difficult, so the rule is applied for ease of production and perception. For example, we have the words annual, sexual, cultural, penal, annular, secular, cellular in this case cell, and perpendicular.
Hello everyone, my name is Estefania Reglado. I am going to talk about delation. It refers to omission or non-pronunciation for a sound segment with a word or phrase. For example, a stressless syllable delation. In the word banana, the second syllable na is pronounced with less stress, might be reduced of even delayed in the fast speech. It sounds more like banana. That's for consonant dilation. Some casual speech, the consonant words might be delayed. For instance, in the word ham, the final might be not pronounced in the fast speech, but it sounds like han. In the with consonant dilation, it words in with cluster of consonants. Weaker consonants may sometimes be dropped. For example, in the word the castle, the T sounds may be dropped in the causal speech, results in castle.
Insertion is an is pronunciation or to convert of to phonological rules. It can include the insertion of the vowels, consonants, and the other linguistic elements. That is, a phonological insertion varies across the language and dialects, influencing the way words are spoken. The examples for film. In casual speech, some speakers might insert an extra L, then pronouncing film as film. The next one is extra for extra. Some dialects inserts for the sounds R between the T and in extra resulting in extra. The next one is hamster. The pronoun hamster. In some accents, speakers insert a P sound between the M and S in hamster. Thank you. Metathesis. In this rule, the position of sounds or syllable within a word switched or rearranged. It often happens in casual speech and can also occur in historical language change. Some examples are comfortable, cavalry, nuclear, prescription, flash, cinnamon,